All right, so today we're gonna be giving neonates their first meals. I've got a red and I've got a yellow that have already had their first shed. They both shed out last night, so we're gonna give them a shot today. In my opinion, this is probably one of the bigger days when it comes to reproducing green tree pythons. There is getting the initial clutch, hatching that clutch, and giving neonates their first meal. So it's a pretty important step in the process. This is kind of one of those things that if they eat great, then that's a really good sign. If they are kind of picky or runners or tuck their head, then there's other measures that you have to take. So we're gonna go ahead and get started today. I've got my pinks all thawed out. I've got some chick down. I've got everything ready to go. One of the main things whenever you're first establishing these, especially the first feeding day, is that you want to make sure that you have everything ready because you cannot move while these things are eating. If you close that tub, if you get up, if you sneeze, they will spit out that pinky and you will have to start over again. So you want to make sure that you have your water, you want to make sure you have all your supplies ready to go, sitting right around you. Whenever they wrap it and begin to eat, you want to just sit there completely motionless and not move at all. So make sure that you have everything around you that you don't have to get up. Let's get into this, let's get started and see how it goes. All right, so I've got my chick down here and I've got my pink, and I want to just go ahead. I personally use a lot. Like, I like to cover that thing in chick down. Other people don't like to use as much, but I like to use a lot because they can smell it. So let's go ahead and try this. As you can see, I already took the water out. I keep them over water for the first, couple weeks after them being born. And then after that, I move them on to really damp, wet paper towel. You want to start off really slow. You want to just let them know that the food item is there. You don't want to just go in right off the bat and just start pounding them with it, because that'll actually turn them off of it. Just want to kind of ease your way into it. And once they start tongue flicking, generally when they will start to strike. So I'll start getting a little bit more aggressive. Oh. And that's exactly what you want to see. That was perfect. So I'm not going to move, and I actually can't really talk too loud. I want this thing to eat it. I'm going to shut off the camera, and then I will maybe get a B-roll of it if it starts to swallow it. All right, so it is just about done with that pink. You might notice that there's another pink on the ground right next to it. The first pink that it struck that you guys saw, it struck the middle of the body, and it was having some trouble finding the head of it. So while it was searching around, I kind of just put another pink in front of its face, and it just opened its mouth and started eating it. One of the really important things that you want to do whenever you're feeding these for the first time is you want to make sure that the tip of the nose is right against the tip of the nose of the snake, because if they strike the middle of the body, it can be hard for them to find the head. And if they strike the head of the pink right on the nose, then they can just swallow it right down. So it is really important for them to strike, right on the head of the pink so that they can just swallow it down super easy. So that's pretty much it. That's as easy as it gets. And one more thing is, you might be wondering, well, when is it safe to close the tub? Now would be the safe time. Once that pink is all the way down its throat, its mouth is closed, it's tongue flicking, I can go ahead and take the other pink out, so I don't want it to eat it, and then you can very gently go ahead and close that tub, and that's it. Now I'm going to give it a couple hours to repurge itself, let that meal settle in, and then I'll come in and rinse out the bottom of that tub and give it fresh water. All right, so this is round number 2 with one of the yellows who's got a really crazy looking pattern. The camera doesn't do any justice for this thing. I mean, his dark pattern is like black. It looks really sick. If you're interested in any of these babies, if you're interested in any of the yellow ones, hit me up on Instagram at Amazing Arboreals. The red ones are already sold, but these yellow ones I'll be selling as well. So if you're interested in them, let me know. I'll post a picture of the parents right here. But let's go ahead and get into this. So we're just gonna do the exact same thing. I dip that pink in some chick down, and we're just gonna gently get him interested in it. You don't want it it to shy away. You don't want it to start running. You don't want to start being too aggressive right off the bat. You want it to understand that this is food. There you go. That's exactly what you want to see. It's interested in it. It's tongue flicking. You want to do these little twitches. Give it a little tap. This one's gonna eat. Truck right on the head. Kind of just want to leave it. Maybe it'll just start to eat it without wrapping. I'm just going to leave it and see what happens. As you can see, it got it completely down. It pretty much just dropped to the ground and started to eat it after that last clip. And that's really all there is to it. You know, they don't always eat as easily as these two did, but you know, whenever they do, you take what you can get. So pretty successful day. I'm really happy with the results, and that just about does it. If you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram at Amazing Arboreals. This is day number 2. This is actually the following day from the last clips that you guys saw. One of the yellows had shed last night, and this other red one, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with it, although I do kind of have a feeling that it might skip its first shed. So I'm going to try and feed both of them today, and we're going to see what happens. The yellow one I'm going to do normally like I did yesterday, and the red one, it's a bit small, so I'm actually going to use a pink head rather than a full pink, but I'm still going to do the same process as I do everything else. I'm going to dip it in chick down and all that stuff. I just want it to know that what I'm trying to give it is food. So this is not really about nutrition so much as getting it to understand that this is food. And again, it has not shed yet, so I'm not going to try too hard to get it to feed. If it feeds, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. I'll just give it a few more days. Hopefully it'll shed, then I'll try again. So I'm going to start out with the red one and then I'll move on to the yellow, but let's go ahead and get into this. As you can kind of see, it's just the pink head with a little bit of chick down on it. We're just going to basically do the same exact process. Just kind of wake it up a little bit, get it going, get its tongue flicking, seeing how it's going to react. Now, whenever this one was actually in the egg box, when it was first hatching, this one was actually striking at me. So that's generally a good sign. And it is looking interested. You don't want to go too hard right off the bat. You just want to ease them into it. You want them to do the work, basically. It is interested. It's tongue flicking a lot. It's kind of investigating it, seeing what's happening. Oh, okay. Well, see, I think I did a little bit too much. It did strike the ground, which is good. Hopefully it'll strike this. Sometimes they'll just open their mouth and you can just slide it in there. Yeah. Kind of. Oh, almost had it. Almost. Close. So whenever they're striking kind of erratically like this, I basically want to just get this stuck in his mouth. And I kind of figured that this one was going to do this, which is why I just went for the pink head right off the bat rather than a full pink. Oh, almost. All right, so I've kind of readjusted a little bit. I've dipped the pink head back in hot water and put some more chick down on it, and we're just going to keep trying. All right, so you don't want to spend too long on it. You don't want to stress them out or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and feed the yellow one, and then I'm going to come back to this. And that's exactly what you want. Same thing. I'm just gonna shut off the camera. I'm gonna sit here and wait. Oh, it's actually already starting to eat. Pretty much as good as it gets. Okay, so that yellow one, you know, ate perfectly fine. It swallowed it. There really wasn't much to film with it that you guys haven't already seen with the first two. So I'm gonna move back to this red one right here, and we're gonna give it another shot. So again, the same thing. you know, I'm just gonna repeat what I had already done. Dip the pink head in the water and then in the chick down, and as you can see, it's kind of settled down a little bit. This is the last attempt that I'm gonna try with it. If it doesn't eat in the next couple minutes, or like take it within the next couple minutes with this, then I'm just gonna walk away. You don't want to sit here for 40 minutes, an hour trying to get this thing to eat, because that is just gonna stress you out. It's gonna stress the snake out. It doesn't really do anybody any good. I don't spend more than 10 minutes total trying to get a neonate to eat. I will just come back a different day. Again, just take it slow, take it easy, especially with their first meals. A little trick that I like to do is I'll actually come in with the tongs and pinch them a little bit. I'm gonna start getting a little bit more aggressive here. I think he might have just turned off completely. So we'll see what happens. But sometimes you can get it stuck in their mouth, and then they'll try and spit it out and they won't be able to, and then they'll just swallow it. Kind of what I'm hoping is gonna happen here. Gets it stuck in his mouth and then gets tired of trying to spit it out and then just swallows it. Be kind of frustrating sometimes getting these things to eat, but you just gotta take your time with it. I think I'm just gonna try one more time. I'm gonna get it in his mouth one more time, and if he won't eat it, then I'm gonna walk away. Yeah, he's not really interested. All right, so now's the time when you walk away. You know, I didn't really expect it to eat today anyway, because it hasn't shed. So hopefully it'll shed within the next couple days, and I'm gonna give it another try. All right, guys. So it is now a few days past that last video that you saw, that last clip, and this little red one has still not shed. It's not really moving around at night or hunting or anything. I kind of have a feeling it's gonna skip its first shed, and it's just not showing very much interest. It was born a little bit smaller than the rest of the clutch, so what I'm gonna do today is attempt to feed it a pink head just like I did in the last clip, and if it doesn't eat, I'm gonna just go straight ahead to assist feed, because I want to get that thing up to its first shed. It has a much better chance of thriving after it sheds out, and whenever they're this small, I don't really want to waste any time. If it was a little bit bigger and not eating, I would probably try to feed it a couple more times, but generally whenever they're not eating, I don't really waste a lot of time. So we're gonna get right into it today. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing I did last time and try and feed it a pink head, and we'll go from there. Yeah. Once they start running, it's pretty much over. You're best off to close the tub. If you have others to feed, you know, go feed them and come back to it once it's settled down. But once they start running, you pretty much just want to stop, because they're just not gonna eat at that point. They're trying to get away from it than anything. So I'm not really gonna waste a lot of time trying to get this thing to eat. I just have a feeling that it's probably not going to. So I'm gonna go ahead and assist feed it, and I'm gonna show you guys what I do for that. Okay, so what I have here is a baby crested gecko. Now, I've cut off the head and all the legs, and that may seem a little grotesque, but this is the reality of producing green tree pythons. You know, if you don't like it, then don't breed them. That's what I have here. This is a US captive born crested gecko, and I've cut off all the legs so I can it should easily just slide down a little bit. We'll go ahead and do that. Now, obviously, you want to be very, gentle and delicate with these things because they are very small and very fragile. So I'm just gonna come up here very easily. Okay. And you just wanna grab their little head like that, and you'll actually be able to feel like their jaw bones. You kind of want to grab their body because they will wrap, and you want to stretch their body out a little bit. Get their head up. So you want to get it stuck in their mouth. Okay, so you want to get it down their throat like a good amount so that they can't spit it up. But you also want to leave a little bit hanging out so that they learn to swallow. What I'm going to do is just put him down just like that, and I'm going to see if he will swallow it by himself. I'm going to shut off the camera and I'll come back to it because it might take him a minute. All right, so it finished swallowing it up just like the others. I'm going to give it maybe an hour or two or so, and I'm going to come back and make sure it's repurged and give it fresh water. Pretty much it. You know, I don't really think that I'm going to even try and feed it again until it has its first shed. I think I'm just going to assist feed it until it sheds, and then I'll try again. It's kind of just the process that you have to do with these things when they won't eat. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Also, another thing is, I know it's hard to get baby captive bred crested geckos, so if you don't have that, you can use like pinky heads. You can also use like small mouse leg, and then you can also use chicken gizzards that are cut up into like that same shape that you saw with the crested gecko. So that's pretty much it for that one. All right guys, so that's it for that video. I hope you liked it. I'll try and do more of these in the future. I think every clutch I have, I'll probably try and put out a feeding video. I think maybe next clutch I might focus more on the problem feeders than anything, because those are really what people have the most trouble with. So I'd like to get as much information out there as possible. I hope you liked it. I hope it helped, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.